Braxton Jones was asked if he thinks he can be the left tackle of the future for the Chicago Bears.
I'm no person to just, put myself and say that I'm for sure that guy or anything, because that's not my decision to make, but I want to be that guy. I want to put in the work in the offseason too as well to be that guy and a cornerstone for this organization. I feel like obviously I got a lot of work to do, but, just personally and the way I try and, act around the building, I want to be here as long as possible, and I feel like I could be a cornerstone for that left tackle position. So I definitely think I do got to get obviously a lot better in certain situations. That bull rush obviously has got to clean up, and that just comes with consistency, pad level, and technique and stuff like that. But as far as your question, I definitely think, I could do that for sure.
Another cool thing that he said as well as a follow-up to that, Tom, was he was asked how he evaluates himself, because there's so many measurements out there, Pro Football Focus, and, pick your statistical line. He said, you're going to love this. He said, did I keep the quarterback clean? Does number one clean at the end of the day? That's how he, and I'm sure he probably looks at some of the other statistics and things like that, but that's his number one priority.
Well, I mean, it is because it's relatable to a number. How many sacks did you give up during the course of this year? And when you gave up sacks, what type of pass protection responsibilities did you have? Were you an unprotected left tackle that was trying to sustain a 7-step drop by the quarterback? Were you getting beat on a 3-step drop with such immediacy that the quarterback had nowhere to go? So all these things that Braxton has to investigate about himself, it'll tell a lot of the story to himself. But what I like about Braxton, and he is a thinker about the things he needs to improve on and what can get better. And are you that left tackle that you can go into the next 10 years and the Bears feel very comfortable? Do you remember Troy Auzine?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I played with Troy Auzine here, and he started left tackle, designated the starting left tackle 3 weeks into the season, and had a really short career. He fizzled out by 95, started in 92. I went on to the Colts to play for a little while. However, just because you start as a rookie doesn't mean you're the guy that's going to be in place for the next 10 years. So, like I mentioned earlier in the show when we started talking about Braxton, there's a lot that he can prove to me in the offseason by never taking a step on the field. If he comes back and he looks physically different, that he has dedicated himself into the weight room, that's going to tell me an important part of his desire to be great. You can come out here and you can be decent or you can be good, but he has the ability to be great. And I think
you
a
think
lot
so?
of,
He's got the ability to be great.
Yeah.
That's a big thing you're saying.
I do.
Right
When
there.
you're talking about using his assets, he's got good feet. He's a super smart kid. He's got really good length. But now, can he get better bendability? Can he be more dominant when he's got a one-on-one run blocking assignment?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these measurements aren't just what you did on, did I keep my quarterback clean? That's 1/3 of your job. Because of the running statistics that are part of what the Bears are able to accomplish this year, so much of it has to do with Justin's scrambling ability. Is the running game sufficient with just the running backs? And what is your role according to the run game? And if you look at the statistics for the Bears going to the outside left, it's significant. They're like over 6 yards a carry on the outside left. So, the measuring sticks, the initial measuring sticks for Braxton, his arrow is definitely pointing up. But this is the first offseason you're going to have on your own as a professional, and what are you going to do with it? And it's not necessarily hiring some fancy personal trainer. It's about, are you dedicated enough that you encourage yourself to go in the weight room, that you don't need to be hand-fed in the weight room and having somebody guide you there? Can you point me in the right direction of 50-pound dumbbells, and I'll tell you a lot about a guy.
And how much actual weight does he have to put on? Are we talking 10, 15 pound kind of thing? Or because that actually goes against what the philosophy is, though, with the Bears. They're lighter, quicker, and that's Braxton Jones. But I keep hearing he's got to put more weight on.
You can get stronger without gaining weight. And the gaining muscle is going to naturally add some pounds to you. And whether it's 8 or 12 pounds of muscle, that's a big difference in a player during the offseason. Because as you get into the season, you get to your strongest point before the season starts. And then it's going to tear you down a little bit. But it's those gains you made in the offseason that's going to allow you to sustain a better athletic profile during the whole course of the season.
Somebody's asking on the text line, did I detect a slight Canadian accent in the voice of Braxton Jones? I caught that as well. He said organization. And as far as I can see, Braxton Jones does not have any connections to the Great North.
No.
I don't think. He's from Murray, Utah. And obviously played his college football at Southern Utah State, 168th overall pick. It's been a strange season for Braxton Jones because I was there in the Walter Payton Center watching an OTA when all of a sudden Tevin Jenkins takes a back seat, Larry Borum takes a back seat, and he's using one of those draft picks to start at left tackle. Braxton Jones has gotten a free pass this year on there. And I'm not saying he hasn't been worthy of it, but he was surprised as anybody when they put him in at that position and sort of had that attitude, that demeanor, like, I don't know if I belong. So hearing this, what we just heard from Braxton Jones, to me is heartening because at least he's starting to sound like he thinks he belongs there, because I got the feeling that he was just as surprised as us when he was put in at left tackle early in the OTAs and then in training camp.
You talk about another measuring stick is when the coach calls you aside and says, hey, we're going to take you away from your job and we're going to replace you with this person. And then the person they tell that say, look, you're going to be our starting whatever position it is. And now you talk about his role and his importance and the improvement that he has to show in a really small period of time. Because Jay Hilgenberg, who we work with every week, you talk about him the first time that he started to share time with Danny Neal, the center that was in place, and then Jay started his role in taking over the position. I think the first game that he played in, you'll have to ask him. I think he gave up a sack and got a holding call immediately, and Ditka pulled him out of the game. So, that transition is not always easy, and that's where I admire Braxton Jones, is because when he was put in place, it wasn't like he was hiding from it. Mm-hmm. He was taking advantage of the opportunity and flourishing with it.
Yeah, and he also credited the coaching staff for giving him help and not, as he said, his words, not leaving him on an island, because they understand that at this point there are limitations, and the competition at Southern Utah State, not what it is in the NFL.